How'd you do that?
I think right place, right time. We were talking a little bit. I probably owe all my haters, of which there are many, a thank you, a postcard maybe. We built the business. We have lots of fans. Over the course of 20 years, we've spoken our mind and accumulated some people who don't like us. We got sold.
You have the most fervent haters of anyone I've ever met.
We have fervent haters. We have.
They're all in on hating you.
They are quite devoted to it, but we have lots of people who love us. So we sold the company to PENN Entertainment, which is a gambling company regulated by the government. And what happened was the regulators, there are a few that do not care for me, some that, more than others. And they're the types of people you'd expect not to like me. They're small, liberal arts. People have read all the articles that are mean about me. Well, they can make your life hell if you're in the...
How many are there?
So each state has probably 4 regulators, and I'd say we were legal in 12 or 13 states. I know Massachusetts, they hated my guts. We weren't licensed in New York.
Even though you're a son of the Commonwealth?
Even though I grew up there, started the business there, our roots are there. We were invested. They actually investigated Barstool Sports as part of getting a gambling license. They were investigating me. I don't know about what, and I don't know why. I actually watched the gambling hearings, and a member of the board stopped in the hearings and said, I just want it on record. What you're doing to Barstool is so unfair and so different than the way you've treated every single gambling company. I want it noted. It was that crazy, but there's no oversight. There's nothing. So,
and these people are not elected,
appointed with no oversight. And basically there's nothing. A gambling regulator can say, do whatever they want. They can make up the rules, make up the laws. And what we saw with PENN over the course of 3 years is every time we took a couple of steps forward, we'd go backwards with the gamblers. We had to explain every article, every hit piece, everything that's ever been said. We were on trial. And we were the only ones on trial. It didn't matter what the backgrounds or the histories of the other gambling companies. So it became really difficult for us to succeed in this business when, for example, we weren't allowed to do college football game day shows. Like we for years would go to college campus before a football game and we do a college football show. It's called Barstool Sports Game Day. We weren't allowed to do that anymore because they said we were promoting the underage gambling. Everything we did was met with resistance. So it made it really hard for this PENN Barstool relationship to prosper. And I think PENN got to the point where they said, we're not getting the results we wanted. And it wasn't, I don't think they thought through our own fault, their fault. The relationship was much more difficult. We underestimated the regulators, how difficult they could make this in a regulated world. So they said, we're going to partner with ESPN. They had an opportunity. And I think it's a good thing for PENN. They still own a ton of stock. But once you go to ESPN, maybe you don't need Barstool. I end up getting the company back for $1. So that's why I say thank you.
But I don't understand. I mean, but how does that work? So they paid what, $600 million or something?
Yeah, $600 million, that neighborhood.
And the regulators make it impossible to make it profitable, which I totally understand. But then how do they get to the point where like, hey, let's just give it back to Dave Portnoy for free?
So we have a great relationship with PENN, and we always did. So I do think they cared about the future of Barstool. But it's not only that. They just formed a huge relationship with ESPN, gigantic company. You have Barstool over here. We were supposed to be the media engine, and we were losing money. We're in growth mode. Barstool is growth, to try to build the funnel for gamblers. When I ran it myself, we made money. It was always making money. So the option I think that PENN probably was faced with, and I'm speaking for them to a degree, is, all right, we got ESPN. Are we going to continue to lose money with Barstool? Probably not. They would have optimized it, and people who weren't making money probably would have lost their jobs. Unfortunately, I have a bigger heart than people give me credit for. I got these idiots at Barstool who had been with me for 15, 20 years. The same people. If they didn't work for me, I don't know what they got, bag groceries. The morons, Tucker. They are truly morons. They fit in our circus, in our moronic world. So I looked at it, and Barstool was losing money. I said, I'll take it back. We're losing a bunch, so I got to fix it. But I know I can save all our jobs and get us back on the profitability course. So it worked, I think, for PENN, and it worked for us.
How much are they losing right now?
We lost about $10 million last year.
That seems like a lot.
It is a lot. It's a ton. But I'm rich, and I can fix it. So if I have to lose money or pay for it for a month or two, fine. But we'll get back to profitable. We'll have some layoffs, but we'll get back to profitability pretty quick.
So, I mean, it's interesting. So you built it from like a single newspaper into this big company. And then a big company takes it over. What did,
Yep, twice. We actually sold it to Chernin Group, 2016, the media group, and then we sold it again in 2021.
like selling the same entree.
Yeah.
So good. But why were you able to run it profitably and they weren't?
Because I think there's different goals. Like when Chernin bought it, their goal was always to sell it again. So you get revenue, and you're not really caring about the bottom line. They had money. That's not how I ran it. I was paying my bills, paying my employees, trying to buy houses. I'm not just going to waste money. We have things that we didn't have back then. I didn't have huge HR departments. I didn't have people doing pricings. We got bloated. And then when PENN bought it, they're a public company. So finance explodes because you got to do books, public, all that stuff, slash. I don't care about any of that. I care about being funny and people, doing their job.
What do you mean finance exploded?
So when we became owned by PENN, we needed our books. They're public now because it's a publicly traded company. So the process of going from a private company to public, our finance department, we hired a lot more people to make that, work with what PENN needed.
For compliance.
Correct, exactly. So things that I never dreamed about as a private, not only on the financial books, but HR. Like we had the first thing I did when I got the company back, and some people got mad about it, we had these little business cards in the front desk. If you see something, say something. Feel free to narc. It was basically a narc card. It had a little anonymous address to send to PENN Gaming, PENN Compliance.
So like to rat out your coworkers for naughty thoughts or something?
Yes, literally. So the first thing I did when I announced I took the company, I marched to the front, I took all the cards, I ripped them in half and threw them in the trash. If you have a problem, say it. Say it out in the open, but I don't like narking private. So there's just a lot of things as a public company that, to me, are wasteful spending.
Well, and also just corrosive of the human spirit, like telling on people.
A narc card. Yeah, a narc card.
So you went to grade school in Massachusetts, right?
Yep, Swampscott.
In the 80s.
Yep. Oh, come on now. 80s.
I'm old.
Class of Swampscott Athletics are back alive thanks to the class of 95.
95. Nice. And congrats on resurrecting Swampscott's athletics. If you narked on someone at Swampscott, was that considered good or bad?
Bad. That's bad everywhere. And by the way, my leadership style, I will scream at people, but they can scream back at me. And we'll forget about it in 5 minutes. If you have issues, say it. You should know who has the issue, and you should fix it. By the way, they may be right. That's not saying that their issue isn't, warranted. But don't squeal. Don't say it behind closed doors. Say it like two people, two grown adults. Figure it out. That's the environment I want.
Yeah. Say it like a man to my face, people used to say.
Exactly.